Sonic Superstars is turning 2 years old this year. Take your meds, old man. Sonic Superstars is, at the time of writing this, the latest mainline game in the Sonic franchise, and placing it in the timeline lies between Sonic Mania and... Whoa, I didn't know they made a McDonald's Pakistan added to a real game. When it came out, people were finding themselves in 3 categories. Some loved it, some found it middling, and some... actually not many people hated it. Of course, there's the odd one out here and there on YouTube, but to be fair, you can also find ones on Sonic Heroes. Where do I lie? I hear you ask, and don't worry, I'm collaborating with ISP and spying on you. I actually really love this game. Now trust me, this isn't the best Sonic game by a long shot. I mean, you're going to really need to try your socks off to be Adventure 2. But after 2 years since this game released, how well has it aged? Well, I'd be surprised if it aged at all since we started playing it in March of this year. But let's have a dig down on it, eh? Oh wait, I need to compare it to Mania. Superstar's bad compared to good Mania. There, I've done it. Give me $12. This is all the Mania mentioning you're getting, by the way. It'll never come again because that's BALL. Now, as the kids say, I fun with the visuals. Wait, that's not what they meant? Now, is this the nice looking game in the world? Nah. But it's bouncy, vibrant, every level has its thing going for it, and it looks about nice. Infrastructure wise, I mean, say what you will about it, it's better than Birmingham at least. I've seen some comparisons to Sonic Forge, the idea of 3D in a 2D setting, if that makes sense. And whilst it is there, especially with Episode 2, you actually have to try to make a game as terrible looking as Sonic 4 Episode 1. Bro legit looks like he came straight out of that 70s Soviet cartoon where a tank comes to life or something, I don't know. The character models look sweet, and it all looks, well, happy. And I'm happy. Speaking of characters, you have a fine choice of 4 characters, with Trip on the side when you beat the game. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Let's just rapid fire them to the ranking. Number 5, Knuckles. He's the most annoying one to control, that might be because I suck eggs, so I don't know. He moves funny, so that's sweet. Not too fun on the stage either, but it's certainly better than number 4, Tails. Decent ability to fly, would have been number 3 if it wasn't for his awful stage. Number 3, Sonic. He's the OG, who could hate him? His shadow skin makes a funny pattern when he's running. Number 2, Trip the Noob. Interesting super form, slow as balls, but it's cool. Double jump automatic to get to the top 2, and whatever this is, it's pretty cool. Number 1, Amy. Double jump is all you really need, especially since there's like 3 bosses you can rip with her, and I guess Trip 2. The IHOP skin reminds you of 2 things, Alice in Wonderland, and the bleak thought that a cartoon hedgehog is able to get employed. So I'm granted, it's getting very obvious child labour laws, and I make mid videos on the internet. I seriously think if you put all the time I play with everyone else, it'd be the equivalent of 1/3 the time I played as Amy. Now bear in mind, the only game I've played that's similar to Superstars, besides Sonic the Antidote for Depression that is, was CD, a game not known for having the most playable levels. Practically all the levels range from fine to some gourmet stuff. So I like the characters, let's do another speed though. Bridge Island, brilliant intro to the game, understands the fundamentals of old school Sonic brilliantly. Speed Jungle, honestly outside the cool jungle vibes and the bosses, I don't really have too many tosses about it. Just play Act 1 and forget about Act 2 because visibility is cool. Sky Temple, very interesting, I really do like it and it's the first boss that actually offers much of a challenge. Pinball Carnival, this is everyone's favourite and I'm inclined to agree. Fantastic visuals, gimmicks, bosses, I really love the train. Lagoon City, Act 1 felt really short for some reason, Act 2 is where it's truly at. But give it this, it does my favourite character stage, explains why it's the only one you have to play. Sounding Sanctuary is fun. Press Garden, okay, whilst I'm not the craziest about Act 1 as the wacky workbench floors if they have 1,000 ping can be very annoying, Act 2 is really cool. It might actually be my favourite non-Act 4 act. This also marks the difficulty of the bosses being cranked up to 11, which we'll get to later. Golden Capital. The fact that I can get like hundreds of coins only to lose all of them and end up with like 2 by the end, it's very reminiscent of gambling and I think that's very funny. Cyber Station. You know what I'm visuals remind me of? Minecraft. 10 out of 10. Frozen Maze. Okay, probably my least favourite level. I never replay it, especially since I get PTSD from Tails' stage. Act 2 is simply a slightly better version of that stupid tornado stages from other games. Egg Fortress. Act 2 is freaking epic. It's like Act 1, but reversed. But my word, is it so much more fun. So Sonic Superstars is a very good range of zones, unlike all of them. Except you. So probably the thing I've seen people rank this game on the most for, okay, second most, are the bosses. Now I tried to keep this discussion about bosses on an absolute minimum when it comes to the quick fire round, because it's such a huge thing when it comes to the concept of Superstars. But, and please bear in mind that this is going for someone who's working on a mega video on probably the most 6 out of 10 character in BFDI, the bosses are great. Mostly. I will concede and understand why people have two bones to pick with them. Some of them are very difficult, especially post-Sand Sanctuary. There'll be times to press Guardian 2 while I end up getting crushed for the fourth for starting box, the Pagan among here quite annoying, and Fang is very annoying. But again, outside the robot nonsense in Cyber Station, I don't really hate any of them. Even the ones that people cite as being the worst. Okay, I take it back somewhat. Fang's final boss and ship story can go ship to Australia. But outside of his boss, I'm hesitant to call them cheap, and yes, there is a difference between a hard boss and a cheap boss. I figured I had a much better time than others because I played as Amy for all of them, and she made things a lot easier because say you beat Amy, saying you beat Sonic Superstars at Amy, my goodness. He's practically saying you beat Mario Kart 8 with 50cc is not impressive at all. Until I played Cyber Station's boss as Knuckles as a challenge, and it was certainly very annoying at times, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't overbearingly bad. I don't really bother with the other three because I feel like if I can brush through Knuckles in the hardest boss in the game, I'm fairly certain I could do with Sonic, Tails and Trip. I think the philosophy is the incredibly small margins of error that makes them difficult, not necessarily the bosses themselves. For example, Fang's boss, I say it's cheap because of like the insta-kills that happen. It is the only boss that seems to have insta-kills, well except for the black holes in the last story, but you could easily do them. The bosses themselves, nah, I've played worse. Rumor Honeybottom still gives me nightmares to this day. But like every other Sonic game, you need to go to beat special stages to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds. And whilst it's certainly different, I gotta admit, I had a better time with it than the Sonic Sit-In for Madness game. Because it was easier, of course. We all know that when you collect all the Chaos Emeralds, you get to go Super, which thanks to Sonic Heroes, outside of Sonic himself, ever gets to shovel crap. Well, maybe Sonic 2, because look at Super Trip! But reverse a few nodes, because Superstars adds something interesting to the mix. Rather than being goons that simply give you one ability when you have them all, each emerald gives you a new power-up. Avatar, Bullet, Vision, Water, Ivy, Slow, and Extra. Now I would make another quick fire run, but to be honest, the only real ones I use are Bullets and Slow, with the occasional Avatar and Vision. The other three are either very situational, or I never really use. I am thankful for them though, because they can make bosses a heck of a lot easier. There's also bonus stages to collect medals, with the stages being reminiscent of Sonic 1 special stages, just with a less drug-fueled nightmare of a background. I find it a bit fun. House of Story. Well, Fang returns after his retirement from boxing. This time he's helping Dr. Eggman capture animals from the North Star Islands, and creates a hostile work environment with his co-worker Trip, who then kills him or something. Very reminiscent of Dark Man, I'm very well aware. 10 out of 10. Would hijack my cinema to play the cinematic epic. Other than Trip and Fang shenanigans, I kind of didn't really care for the story much because I'm not a nerd. I'm a geek. I got brains and a personality. Okay, maybe I've only just barely got a brain. And a personality, now that's just debatable. I do feel a need to talk about Trip a bit more because this is her debut game, and for first impressions, dare I say, I'm impressed. But there's many videos probably talking about this, I hope. So I'll leave you this. Shy, make friends with Amy, kill Fang, Sungazer, Golden Dinosaur, that's all you're getting. The last thing I really want to mention are the modes. You of course got the classic time attack, but there's also Trip's story, which admittedly I haven't played because upon playing the first two zones, it just felt like a normal story minus the extra bit to the end. Until I realised that Trip actually had a final boss with her own dedicated cutscene in the end, which unlocks that story that takes you to the last boss, so yeah, good concept. There's still not much left to talk about Trip's story because it's still the same game as the normal story, except you may or may not have all 7 Chaos Emeralds like me, and level design is specifically tailored to earn mine. Lastly, there's also the battle mode, which I certainly think is interesting. Actually, I just realised while I was playing as Knuckles in the recording for Cyber Station that the main robot you're fighting is the robot you made, so that's pretty nice. Now, is this game worth the 55? No. I put off saying it because I have a little bit of a confession. I didn't buy it for £55, I only got it for £9 on Amazon. So I do feel a bit unfair to be like, yeah, poor man, I agree with this horrible pricing, and not having to go through it myself. So I guess the better question for me personally is, was the game worth £9? Yes. Sonic Superstars, as I said earlier, is not the best game. It's not even the best classic Sonic game, as you presumably tell by the existence of Sonic Mania. Damn it! But it's a fun, cute little game that you may have a laugh with some friends. A common misconception with Superstars is that it outright failed, when more so a, let's say, very minor disappointment in Sega, if you can even call it that. 1, its predecessor Frontiers did incredibly well, becoming the best-selling Sonic game of all time, and 2, it was in direct competition with Mario Wonder. The game itself sold pretty well, and Sega even admitted that in June 2024, so no sweat, Trip is here to stay. Anyways, that's all I have for today, bye bye.